Okay, everybody, we are back for another recipe today. Very simple recipe today. Awesome for the wintertime, cold weather. We're making a pot roast today. I'm going to show you how I make it. Um, there's 100 ways to make this. People add a variety of ingredients here, but I'm going to show you how I make it. It doesn't matter what you add to it, what you put in it. Um, there's no right or wrong to this. That's the good thing about this recipe, and it basically cooks itself. So let me run down some of the ingredients that I have here for you guys. Obviously, I have a chuck roast here. I like to use a chuck roast, not a bottom round roast, not a eye of the round. I don't use any of that. I think this is probably one of the most tenderest pieces of meat that you can do for this particular meal. Okay, so we have a very big chuck roast here. This is an Angus cut of chuck roast. This is 5.5 pounds. It's 5.6 pounds. This is going to go a long way. That's the reason why I'm cooking such a big roast. But you can go if it's you and your wife, or you and your husband or whatever. You can get away with like a 3.5 pound roast, plenty for two people, and have a few leftovers. Okay, so we have the Angus chuck roast here. We have a little bit of vegetable oil here. I do have a bottle of wine here. This is just what I chose to use today. I went to the cabinet and a lot to choose from. This is what I went with. I went with a bottle of Robert Mondavi, and we're going to do a Merlot. This is going to be part of the gravy. We're going to put this in the pot after we sear the chuck roast, and we're going to reduce that down a little bit. This is going to be part of our gravy. Okay. I have some potatoes here. I have some carrots. I have a potato ricer over here. I have some rosemary and some thyme. I have one large sweet onion. I have some garlic over here, some cracked pepper, and I have some salt over here, and I have 4 cups of beef stock. Okay, that's the extent of this. Okay, we're going to cook this in a cast iron Dutch oven pot. We're going to start it on the stove top, and then it's going in the oven at 325 for I don't know. This is a big roast. This might take I don't know, maybe up to 4 hours to do this one here. But now the thing is now the potatoes are not going to go into the Dutch oven with the carrots, the onion, your herbs, stuff like that. I'm going to make these separate. So these are going to be garlic mashed potatoes. If you want to know the recipe to this, you can go back to my YouTube channel, and I think it's listed under mashed potatoes 2 ways. Okay, so that'll show you how to make garlic mashed potatoes. So I'm not going to go through the whole recipe for the potato part of it in itself. So you want that, you can go back to that other video and you can watch how I make these. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to cut up some of these carrots. We're going to salt and pepper the chuck roast, and we're going to get that searing. Okay, guys, hang in there. As always, I got to grab my mopine. Okay, it's over the shoulder. We're ready to do this. Let's get this started. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I cut up my carrots. Okay, so you might not think that it's important, but kind of in a way it is. You want to try to get carrots that are pretty thick, pretty uniformed as far as the size. Not so much the length, but you want to make sure that they're all about the same size, down through the carrot. The reason for that is because when you put these in the pot, what's going to happen is you want to make sure that these all cook at the same rate, right? You don't want a real small one, and that carrot's going to become maybe a little bit mushy after cooking or braising for like 3-4 hours. You really don't want that. So what I try to do is I try to find carrots when I go shopping, in a bag that are somewhat uniform. You're probably not ever going to get them perfect. Nobody expects that to happen, but this is what I try to do. So there's a little tip for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how I actually cut my my carrots here, okay? You want and I always do this, okay? I always cut the ends off I don't know why, it's just one of those things with me, okay? And I always cut the other side off too. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to cut a carrot. Not one way is better than the other or anything like that. Now, you can cut them in chunks like this, right? Or you can start cutting things on a bias. Now, you want a good sized piece of carrot because, like I said, you don't want it to become mush by the time, you know, the pot roast is done, right? So you can do that. And this here could actually be the size of your carrot, right? You cut it at an angle, cut it at a little bias like that. It looks pretty. It plates good at the end. Now, when you cut this side like this at a bias, turn it like this, and then cut another piece, right? So now you got a piece of carrot like that, right? Basically, it just looks pretty. It's not a big deal. Same thing with this one here. If you just want to take the end like that and then just cut them. So this is all I do when it comes to just like that. That's all you got to do. And these are your carrots, and these are going to cook down inside the pot roast, and these will be fork tender. They'll be absolutely awesome. Okay, I'm going to get finished with these other carrots here. I'm going to link everything down in the description below, so don't worry about, because I'm not telling you how much of what that I'm using. I'll link everything down in the description below so everybody knows it. I write all the recipes out anyways. Okay, I'll be back in 1 second after I get done cutting these up. We'll get out the garlic and the onions. Rustic meal, don't have to be precise with anything here. Rustic is what it's all about today. Okay, now we're on to cutting up the onion. Okay, the easiest way that you cut an onion any way you want to. There's 15 different ways to do this too, but the way I do it, like most people do it, it's just you're going to make one cut over here, and then you have two sides to it, right? Here's the root side, right? So this side here, now you want to keep that intact, okay? So now we're just going to take it, we're going to make one cut down the center, just like that, okay? And then it's easy to peel off the outer layer. So if you don't want to cry, peel your, just like that, see? Quick, simple, right? Okay, just like that. So again, because this is a rustic meal, right? We're not going to get fancy with this. The root keeps this together, where it's not going to go all over the place. So the only thing I'm going to do now, big cuts, right? So I'm not going to come over here. I'm going to move over a little bit on this onion, just like this. The bigger the gap in between here, the bigger your pieces are going to be in the end. Now, I don't slice it. I know you guys see a lot of people slice their onion like that. I don't do that. And I don't do that because it really doesn't do much for the onion, okay? So, and then we're going to slice it 3 wide here, just like this. So you see how big the pieces are, right? You want this chunky. Again, we're rustic here, right? Just like that, okay? Doesn't really matter how you do this. And then this piece here, you can throw that away. Same thing with this piece here. You're going to do the same exact thing. You're just going to peel it off like this. Throw all that aside, just like that. And then you're just going to take it just like this, right? 4 wide, big pieces, just like that. Big pieces and big pieces, right? Okay, so here's your onion. See the chunks? This is what you're going to wind up sauteing down. All right, so our onion is done. We're done with that. We're going to get on with the garlic. All right, on to the garlic. Okay, the garlic is very, very simple to break, right? You have the wrapper on it. All you're going to do is just take the spine, your blade, hit it. The wrapper comes off. This is what you get left with, is the bare garlic. Oh, if anybody wants to know what kind of cutlery that I use, today I have a lot of cutlery here. I'm using the Wusthof Icon series. So maybe I'll leave a link down below for that. Actually, this was an awesome Christmas gift. So I'm really happy to finally get this blade, and it works well with my hand because it's nice and curved here. If you're buying cutlery, try to find a place where you can actually go, hold the knife, make sure it's comfortable in your hand, you know, and you know, it's like buying a car. You can spend a little, you can spend a lot. I'll make sure that maybe I'll leave a description down below. Okay, so anyways, on with this. Here's the garlic. We're not going to get super fancy with the garlic. We're just going to cut it in threes, just like that. Okay. Again, no right way or wrong way of doing this, okay? And that was about 4 cloves of garlic, okay? So we're going to take the garlic now, and we're going to take the carrots and the onions, and we're going to start sauteing these down. But before I do that, I'm going to bring the chuck roast over. We're going to salt and pepper it up. Over on the stove, I already have some oil in a Dutch oven, cast iron Dutch oven. I don't know, does that make any sense? It probably didn't make any sense. That might be a blooper for this year, 23. I have a Dutch oven with oil in it, ready to caramelize some of these onions. And we'll get going on that, but we'll do the pot roast first. We'll season that up. Okay, so the next step is we are going to bring in some fresh cracked pepper. Okay, very important before you start this, okay, because we're going to build some crust on this. When we start this, we're going to start building flavors, okay. This is a very, very important step. You don't want your chuck roast or whatever cut of meat you guys choose to use. You do not want it wet. You don't want a lot of moisture on it. So before you salt and pepper this, season this up, you without a doubt want to tap this with a paper towel. You want to make sure a lot of the moisture is off this. If you have moisture on it and it goes in the pan, you're not going to get that good sear. You want that good sear. Okay, so we're going to start with the pepper. And you can be very liberal with this, okay? You don't have to worry about this burning in the Dutch oven when you're going to sear this, okay? Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the salt, okay? Just like that. Now, before anybody says anything, yes, I am going to use the same salt and pepper shakers. So you could see this is pretty dry. Now I do have, obviously I always have my mopine over my shoulder here, so this towel is damp. I do brush my hands off, wipe my hands off like that. And yes, I do touch this because, you know, I need more pepper, right? I mean, I guess I could crack this into a bowl if you want to, but I sanitize these when I'm done. I put them aside and I don't touch them when I'm doing other food. So just in case you all were wondering about that, I do sanitize a lot when I make my meals here, okay? So again, be liberal here with the salt and pepper, just like this. Okay, you use a salt of your choice, you know, whatever you guys choose that you want to use. You want to use sea salt, use sea salt. You guys want to use kosher salt, use kosher salt, that's fine. If you want to use table salt, I guess you could, but you'll get a little bit more out of this. Now, it's very important at the same time here, right, to season all sides, right? So don't be afraid. Make sure you get in there, get this done. This is important. This is the beginning of a fantastic meal. I've been making this like this for years and years and years. And when you sear it, you'll see too. You'll see too that you'll sear all sides. Okay, so we're pretty much, and then the ends. The only thing I do with the ends with all the leftover that's on here like this. This is what I do. I just pick it up, just like that. Okay, so we are all seasoned up over here. A little bit of a mess, hey, but it's going to be some good food in the end. All right, I'm going to drop this in the Dutch oven. I'm going to get cleaned up here, sanitize these salt and pepper shakers, and we're going to drop this in the Dutch oven. We're going to get this searing. Okay, so we're at the Dutch oven, cast iron Dutch oven. This is Lodge. I don't know who's ever buying what. I use Lodge pots and pans for my cooking when it comes to cast iron. Love them. They've been around for years. You can look up YouTube videos on these as well to see how they're actually made. Amazing process. They've been doing it like this for like over 100 years. So I stay with Lodge. Okay, so I'm hoping that this piece of meat actually fits in this Dutch oven because it is massive. So you want that nice sizzle when you put this down. Let's see what we get. We should be good to go here. Yeah. Okay. That is exactly what we need to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this sit like this for probably maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. Don't touch it. Just let it be. Let it do its thing. Build that crust, get that nice caramelization on the bottom of this. This could be a 15-minute, it could be a 15-minute process here. But again, good food in the end, so be patient with this. I'll be back to show you exactly what this looks like when I do all sides and the edges, okay? Make sure you do your edges, very important. Okay, so let's get cleaned up. We're gonna let this do its thing. I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay guys, so this has been going for about maybe 20 minutes now. This is a very big piece of meat like I stated before, so it's going to take some time here. It's been about 20 minutes so far, and now what I'm doing is I'm actually browning it on the edges. Remember I told you you want the edges brown, so you can see right here. You want to see that. You want all your edges brown. So this is what I'm doing now. I did the top and bottom. And now we're letting this just sit on edge like this, and you can see how big this piece of meat is. But we're almost done here. I'm going to bring you guys, just wanted to stop in and basically show you exactly what the progress was at this time. It's, like I said, been about 20 minutes, medium heat, got a nice hot pan, and this is what we're doing. So another couple minutes on this, I'll bring you back to show you exactly what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. When we get done searing this. Alright, so this is just about done as far as the searing goes, so I just want to show you what the other side looks like. Look, beautiful, right? Okay, so this is ready to come out. We're going to take this out, just like this. We're going to stick this on another plate, just let that do its thing. And I'll just lower the heat just a tiny bit, and we are going to dump in our onions. Okay, so this here, we're just trying to get some color on the onions. We're trying to just caramelize these a little bit, and then we're going to wind up throwing the garlic in, right? Okay, so we're just going to break up our onions like this. And be careful, because if you're cooking with a cast iron pot, this pot is hot right now. So just be careful. We're going to give this maybe 5 minutes. As soon as these are caramelized, I'll bring you guys back with me, and we'll dump in the garlic at that time. Okay, hang in there. This is going to be a great meal, guys. Okay, so we give these onions a little bit of a chance here to cook down a little bit. We've pulled a lot of the moisture out of these so far. I mean, they're not completely soft at this point. That's not really what you're looking for. I'm just basically looking for, just a little bit of caramelization, which I now have. So you can see that I definitely have that. So we're going to toss our garlic in at this point. And as soon as you smell that garlic, you are going to go on to your next step, which is adding the wine. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're putting the ingredients in. All this is actually the ingredients for our sauce / gravy at the end. Okay, so this is what we're building up for right now. So we'll give this like a minute. It's nice. Look at the bottom of the pan. It's nice. There's going to be a little bit of brown bits on the bottom of there, but once we put the wine in, that's going to wind up deglazing everything. Those brown bits are going to lift up off the bottom of the pot, and then that's going to add like lots of flavor to our sauce in the end. Remember, we still got to put some thyme and some rosemary and some carrots in here, so all the sweetness from the carrots is going to be involved in this, plus the taste of the wine. But we're going to cook the alcohol off, so you know, we're not going to add that in like, and then just put the roast back in. We're going to actually reduce that, okay? Which we're actually almost ready for that now. Okay, so I have a bottle of Robert Mondavi Merlot. The good thing about this, you use 2 cups of this, you drink the rest yourself during the day, right? Okay, so here we go. We're just going to add a little bit of wine. You will get a reaction like that, so don't be alarmed. So we're looking for about 2 cups, right? You know what? Let's put some more in. Let's make a real tasty sauce. About a half a bottle. All right, good. Now we're gonna leave it here. You feel the bottom of the pan, right? If there's any bits on the bottom, now's the time because you're deglazing. Deglazing just simply means that you're lifting everything off the bottom of the pot. That's it. And what we're doing right now is we're reducing this and we're cooking the alcohol off it. So all that steam that you see coming off that, that's what we're doing. We're just taking the alcohol off. We're going to reduce this by half. Okay, so about what you put in just now. Now we're going to just reduce this. And then we're going to put our chuck roast back in. And you could smell the alcohol. You almost want to drink this right now at this level, right? Okay, so anyways, just keep letting it do its thing. This is going to be a beautiful sauce / gravy, you know, however you all want to list it in the end of what this actually is going to be. Yeah, you see that alcohol burning off quickly at this point. All right, so we're just gonna keep going with this. All right, I'll bring you guys back when this is reduced and we'll get on with the next step. Okay, so I've got this reducing for now probably about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and you can see how all the onions now, right, they're more visible than they were when I first added the wine. So you can see how the wine has now reduced, so I think that's good like that. The only thing I'm going to do now at this point is I'm just going to add a little bit of salt, just because I know I'm going to need it in an hour at the end, and I'm just going to add a little black pepper. Okay, probably a half a teaspoon of each at this point. Okay, so this is beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do at this point now is we're gonna grab this bad boy right here, and we're gonna put this right inside the pot, just like that. Okay, we're gonna lower the heat just a little bit. Any juices that are on that plate, put them right in there. That's all flavor. Don't not put that in there. Get all that in there. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to take our beef stock. We got 4 cups of beef stock here. Like I said, guys, what I'll do is I'll list every single thing down below, okay, in the description. I'll let you guys know exactly what I did. So here we go with the beef broth. We're going to do this just like that. You're going to come about maybe halfway to 3/4 of the way up. And it looks like I used probably about 3 cups, okay? So that's where we're at right now. We're going to raise the heat. We're going to get some heat into this because I want this kind of almost to a little bit of a boil before I put this in the oven. The oven is set at 325, and that's where this will stay until it's done. And I'm estimating this because it's just a real big piece of meat. Probably 4 hours on this one. 3.5 pound, you could probably get away with 2.5 hours, or 2.5 hours to 3 maybe. But this one here, I think this is going to take 4. Okay, so what we're going to do at this time here, we're just going to add our carrots. Now you can add as many carrots as you want. You want a lot of carrots, add them. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people at this point will put celery in here as well. Nothing wrong with that. Throw your celery in if you want that. Some people put leeks in. If you like leeks, you can throw that in here as well. This is all I'm going to do to it today, just because this is kind of the mood I'm in. And then we're going to turn around, and we're not going to worry about this stuff breaking apart, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain this in the end anyways to make the gravy. Now, the only other thing that I didn't mention to you guys was you are going to need a little cornstarch, and you are going to need a little bit of water to make a slurry towards the end to make the gravy / sauce for putting this on the meat later, right? Okay, so I just take some of this, and we just tuck it down. We just tuck it down inside. Let's see. There we go. My extra set of fingers here, right? Okay, so we're just going to do that. We're going to push that down, and we're going to push this down, and then we're going to take a sprig of rosemary over here, just like that. And we're going to take a sprig of rosemary. We're going to put that over here, and we're going to take a sprig of rosemary, and we're going to lay that right there on top, okay? If you guys like more thyme, put more thyme in. Sage would be great with this. You could put sage in this if you'd like to. Any of your aromatics, whatever you guys like. But now this is going to go in the oven as soon as this comes to a boil, which, as you can see, is. We're going to put the lid on this. Now, here's the lid. You can see I use Odge pots and pans basically for cast iron. You see these little dots on the top. What this actually does is that when I put this lid on this, the moisture, all the condensation drips off of these little buttons, and it kind of soaks everything evenly all the way across. So this is a great pot. I've had this pot for a while. This is awesome. Okay, I'm going to let this come to a boil. A little bit of a boil, not a boil, right? Not something hard, something soft. Just want to get the temperature of the pot up because the oven's at 325. Plenty of liquid in it, plenty of herbs in it. Carrots, going to be real happy with that once they're done. Okay, so this is now coming up to a small boil. I will see you guys in probably about 4 hours, but, you know, snap your fingers and I'll be back because that's how we do it now with, you know, all this technology. So 4 hours approximately in the oven, and then we'll make the potatoes. Like I said, if you want to make the potatoes that I'm making today, just search my YouTube channel for mashed potatoes 2 ways. I believe I did those for a Thanksgiving Day recipe, and you'll see exactly how I'm making the garlic mashed potatoes. Okay, so 4 hours, and I'll be back with you guys. We'll get the rest of this recipe going. We're almost done. All right, guys, so it has been 3.5 hours for this pot roast, okay? So this is what it now looks like after it's been cooked down, just like that, right? So I just want to show you guys, like, if you just take your fork and literally just pull this apart, it just falls apart, right? See, look, that is extremely tender. All right, so this is what it looks like after it comes out of the oven and cooks down. So I am going to make the gravy. I'm going to strain this. I'll probably show you guys exactly how I do that. You're going to need a little bit of cornstarch, a little bit of water, and I'm going to transfer this to another dish. If you're wondering why you don't see the carrots, I pulled the carrots a little earlier just to make sure that they're not overcooked. So that's why you see I actually left one in there apparently. So yeah, that's the reason. Anyways, I'm going to get moving with this again, and we're going to transfer this to another plate, and we're going to start making the gravy to go on the potatoes and the the pot roast. All right, this looks fantastic. It smells fantastic too. Okay, I'll be back with you guys as soon as I start making the gravy. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to take all the drippings in the cast iron pan. We're just going to run it through a screen, just like this. Sorry if you, yeah, sorry about that. And we're going to let this drain down for a little bit. And then this is going to be our gravy. So once I get this in the bowl, I'm going to transfer it back into the whatchamacallit, the cast iron pot, and then I'm going to start adding some cornstarch to it, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so this is all the onions and garlic and stuff like that. Okay, so this is where a lot of your flavor for this came from. Okay, just like that. Just keep stirring it until there's nothing more that comes out, because you want all the gravy that you could possibly get out of this. Just like that. Okay, that's it. I'm going to add this back into the cast iron pot, and we're going to heat this up, and we're going to get going with the gravy. We are on to making the gravy. You can see here I poured it right back into the cast iron skillet. I drained everything, as you've seen, so I got all the thyme and the rosemary and stuff like that out of it. Now, what I have here is I have some cornstarch and some cold water. Okay, so I put 3 tablespoons of cornstarch in, 3 tablespoons of water. Okay, so it's always 1 to 1. So if you put 5 tablespoons, it's 5 tablespoons of water, 5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Okay, so with cornstarch, you got to be a little bit careful, because when you're kind of heating it like this, it acts very quickly. Okay, you could use flour on this, but flour has to cook out, right? So you have to actually cook the flour to get the raw taste out. So cornstarch is a little bit easier, activates a little bit quicker. So we're just going to pour a little bit in like that, and then we're just going to see that takes off instantly. Okay, so as soon as you pour it in, you're going to get the result. All right, so just keep stirring it, and within like 30 seconds, that's what you're going to wind up. Your result will already be there. So this is how we make gravy. All right, so I can already tell that we're going to need a little bit more. So we're going to add a little bit more to it. Very, very simple. Anybody can make this, so very simple meal to make. Very delicious meal, but very simple. Okay, so always remember, when you're adding cornstarch, it needs to be bubbling. It needs to be really hot. Okay, and when you're adding butter, it's the opposite. You want to actually lower the heat, take this off the heat, or just cut the heat out completely so your butter doesn't separate. Okay, we're going to add a little bit more. And you can feel it. You could feel it on the whisk. You can feel it thickening up. Okay. Now we're going to add the rest of it, just like that. And we're just going to let this, cook down. Now, rule of thumb, I mean, it's a rule of thumb. It's nothing that's carved in stone, but sort of a rule of thumb, I guess. The rule of thumb is usually when gravy or sauce is thick enough to coat the back of a spoon, right? You can see it here, okay? That's coating the back of the spoon. So most people would probably pull it off the heat at this point, all right? I kind of agree with that. You can have it thicker if you want it thicker. Cook it down a little bit more. Add a little bit more cornstarch to it. Either one is fine. If you want it looser and you overshoot the cornstarch, you could always put in a little bit more beef stock. Would be great. Okay, so this is done as far as I'm concerned. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a little salt because I know that needs it after that little bit, and we're going to add some black pepper to it. I'll put all this in the description down below. So you guys can just click on that and you'll have this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to taste it. Always taste your gravy, right? That's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more salt for it. Stir that in. Let's grab another small fork. Give it another taste. Oh yeah, okay. A little bit more salt. That wine gives it this a very, very unique flavor. If you all made it with wine before, you know what I'm talking about, right? All right, let's grab another spoon. And let's see what we got here. Very good. Okay, so like I said, I'll link down in the description how much I put in. Okay, so the gravy's done. We're going to cut the heat on that. We're going to take this across the kitchen. We're going to plate this up, and you guys will see how I do that part of it. Okay, hang in there, stay tuned, and we'll be right back with you. We are ready to plate this meal. Pot roast potatoes and carrots. Came out very, very good. Meat is super tender. All right, so let's get on plating this meal. Okay, so we're gonna take some of our pot roast here. I just want to show you what searing this prior. Okay, this is what it does. And when you bite that piece, that's going to give you a lot of flavor. All right. So we're going to put some of the pot roast here. We're going to just pile some of this. Going to pile some of this up. Just like that. Okay. We are also going to throw a few carrots on this. Just like that. Okay, just like that. All right, now we're going to turn around and put on some, mashed potatoes here. Now, these mashed potatoes, like I said before, these are very, very creamy, very buttery, okay? I put these through a potato ricer, okay? So that's the reason why they look very creamy. Hopefully the camera picks that up, and it does look very creamy, because they are. If you've never used a potato ricer, you can go to my Facebook. I keep saying Facebook in my videos. I don't know why I do that. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can check out these potatoes if you want to know how they're made. They're garlic mashed potatoes, a little salt and pepper, some butter. You can check that out. I think it's the Thanksgiving Day video. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to put a little divot in this, and we are going to just drizzle a little bit of gravy here, just like this. And we're going to drizzle a little gravy over here, just like that. And maybe a strip there, okay? Okay. So this is how I would plate this. And once again, you always garnish with what the meal consists of, okay? So we're just gonna throw a little sprig of rosemary in here and a little bit of thyme, just like that. And we're gonna call this, well, let me clean up my mess here. There we go. And we're gonna call this a day, okay? So this is how I make my pot roast, mashed potatoes and carrots with a red wine gravy. All right, if you guys like this video, put a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. Could always use a couple more subscribers. Love the way my channel's going so far. You guys have responded very good to this channel, I have to say. So I appreciate all the support for this channel. It's been absolutely fantastic. Okay, post a video every Friday or Saturday of the week. So having said that, I'm actually going to have my dinner. Everybody take care. Have a great week coming up, and I will see you in this upcoming week. Okay, guys, see you next week.